everybody, this is Sue, Salvaterra Pottery, coming to you today with a covered casserole dish. If you like what you see, I'm going to ask that you subscribe our YouTube channel as it's new and we're trying to get more and more people subscribing to us. So anyway, Salvaterra Pottery, you have a website too you can check out. So this is a covered casserole dish. We're going to throw the lid, and here's the lid. It has a really nice gutter right here that the bottom sets into, and then there's the casserole. And this is a 3-quart casserole dish. The lid fits nice and tight. It's in our mist glaze. We put our logo on it, and then we also include on the bottom of the piece to tell people to put this in a cold oven and then let the piece, your food, and everything heat up in the oven at the same time. So let's get started. As I told you in the last video, when I do lids or pieces with lids, I throw the lid first because I find that it's easier to fit the base to the lid than the other way around. So 2 pounds of clay for our lid. Let's get started. All right. Slam the clay down, round and round we go, and pull it up and get it centered. So there, we're getting it pretty close. So like I've said before, you control the clay does not control you. Anchor your arms onto your legs and stay steady. So this is usually the fastest my wheel goes is during the centering process, and then I slow it down as I get to a more refined state. So we are ready to go. Let's put a hole in the center, and I'm going to leave the bottom a little thicker because it's going to get trimmed, and I would say it's probably about ½ inch thick on the bottom that I leave it at. So let me refine the bottom a little bit, so I can do it right here. Okay, now we're set up for our first pull. Start at the bottom, up we go. Compress at the top. And if you watch my other videos, you know that I like to keep this base right here really, really clean. So I pull out, I keep all my tools in the bucket. I pull out this tool and I compress it against there, and it pushes the clay back into the piece I'm throwing. So here we go, second pull, and we're going to start creating the shape that it's eventually going to be. So this is going to roll in some. I hope you can see how I roll that in, because this is going to eventually become that gutter that the bottom of the casserole sits in. All right, clean up the bottom again a little bit. I'm pressing in, not cutting clay out. I'm pressing the clay back into the piece. All right. So here we go. Third pull. And I'm leaving this kind of heavy. You need to leave it heavy because it'll collapse on itself if you don't. So the lids end up being a little bit heavy. You can always trim clay off of it later after it gets a leather hard. Okay, so we're going to start pushing this down, and it's going to collapse on itself, and that creates this gutter that I'm talking about. So I'm pushing the clay down upon itself. I hope you can see that. All right, now I've got this little lip here, and I've got the clay compressed. I'm going to slow it down, and I'm going to pull this out a little bit. All right, so I'm going to create this gutter that it sits in, and now I'm going to widen out that lip. And I want these two to be even, the inner part of the gutter and the outer part of the gutter, so the piece sets in there nicely. And then I'm making the lip past the gutter, thinning that out a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to refine the shape, because as I was doing that, this piece has changed its shape. So now I'm going to go back in and make this curve the way I want it. So there's more than one way to do an upside down lid. This is my personal preference. Learned this from a potter. Her name is Julia Mann, and she's a potter here in the Asheville, North Carolina area. She teaches with the Village Potters, actually, and she's a fabulous teacher. So I learned how to do this actually just by talking to her and showing me with her hands without even touching the pot. Okay, so that is going to be our lid. I'm going to put a swirl on the bottom, and I'm going to clean the water out, and I'm just going to refine all the edges a little bit, just so there's no rough spots on it. So this gutter here is the width of my finger. All right. And I'm just refining it a little bit, so bear with me. There we go. Okay. So this is the lid. It's basically this lid upside down. So when I say gutter, I'm talking about this spot right here that the top of the base sets in. So let's cut it off. And let's measure. So I am measuring the outside of where I put this little flange. Okay, there we go. So this is the width that I need the inside of my pot to be. Let's take that out, set it to the side. So hopefully tomorrow, maybe the next day, I will be able to trim that and get its handle and everything on it. Okay, another bat. Okay, so my base for my casserole is 3.5 pounds. I'm going to clean off the bat. It's slightly damp. You don't want it real wet, because if you do that, the ball doesn't stick to the... We're working on the base now. I think I told you 3.5 pounds for the base. Stick it to the bottom. Here we go. And we're centering. So all the practices that I showed you come from the premise that I'm a production potter. We make our living by producing a volume of pottery. Not that we are a manufacturer, because that's sure not the case. We'd be the most inefficient manufacturer you could find, but production, we make a lot of pots. So the techniques I show you here are good for a production potter, because if you're going to make a living at it and want to have your pottery at a reasonable price where the average person can buy it, then you have to be able to produce efficiently. So that is how I work. Not everybody is made to be a production potter. I definitely was. I was born to be into production. I like volume. I like making the same piece over and over again. I know some people would find that like couldn't do it, super boring, but for me, I love making the same piece over and over and over again. After a while, the piece becomes very refined because I've had a lot of practice at this piece and that piece. So I don't make a lot of casseroles, actually. Even took them off my production sheet, but we had a request for some, so I'm making those, and it's a good way to teach you how to do lids. Okay, so let's just see where we are with wise, and if I think that lid's going to be a good fit for this. Yeah, I think I like my base to be a little bit wider than my top, so we are a little bit wider. All right. So now I'm going to start pulling up. Here it goes. And if you notice, I am pulling into the center, this way, into the center. I'm not letting my piece go like this. I'm throwing it like this, because with this bigger piece and it going around and around and around, it wants to do this. So I'm fighting that. So when I throw, I keep it in a bit. Not a lot, a bit. And it just keeps me from having to try to, push it back in, collar it in. It's fighting, you know, after you have to do that. So, all right, I'm gonna clean up this bottom like I always do, and still working on the bottom a little bit, how thick it is. Okay, so we're gonna get another pull here, keeping it going, staying in. Okay. I'm gonna work on this bond. I'm not 100% happy with it. It's a little heavy. Okay, so for beginners, and even advanced people, I've seen this. You say, well, how do you know how thick your bottom is? You know, from experience, I pretty much know and consistently get my bottoms the same thickness. But for beginners, here's what you do to figure out, well, is my bottom thick enough or not? You pull out your needle tool. This is a needle tool. And you put it down into the bottom of the pot, and then you put your thumb at the edge of where the clay is and pull it out, and then that tells you how thick your base is. So here, I'll do it on this one. Okay, so there it is, and that's why I thought it was a little thick, and it is a little thick. So I'm going to thin it out a little bit more because I don't want it quite that thick. But I do like some weight on the bottoms of my pieces that are going to go in the oven, just to give them a little bit more structure or support, because a piece that goes in and out of the oven and out of the microwave is going to have some wear and tear on it. Alright, so I stuck my finger down in there. I got some funny mark on it. I'm not happy with it, which happens. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to just check. Okay, I've got some work to do yet. So here we go. This will probably be my last pull, and then we're going to move to what I consider more refinement. Now I'm not really squeezing the clay as much as I am just working on the shape. Okay, measure again. Press. There we go, we got it. Alright, so put the swirl on the bottom, and I'm going to clean the piece up with my sponge rib. Clean around the top, back and forth, clean here. Alright. Create the spot where the glaze stops, so it doesn't run off the pot. Okay, so that's our casserole. It's going to get handles on it, like this one has. That gets put on once the piece is leather hard. I'm going to move this off here and run a cutting wire under it. Okay. There. Okay, I would show you how that lid's going to fit, but it's upside down, so it's not going to work. Okay, so if you like what we did here for you and are enjoying learning from Salvaterra Pottery, I'm going to ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel as we're trying to get more followers. But if not that, check out our website. We've got lots of beautiful pottery there. You might find something for yourself or for a friend as a gift. But we will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. This is Sue, Salvaterra Pottery. Bye.